What's up, fish tank people? FishTankTV.com, Dustin's Fish Tanks, bringing it to you on a Sunday, baby. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed all those fish rooms I've been showing the past couple of weeks. So today, it's Sunday. I want to talk today about something that I wish my parents had seen back in the day when setting up your first aquarium. That's right. This video is made for all the moms and dads who are thinking about getting their kid an aquarium, or their kid's been begging them, hey, I want an aquarium, I want an aquarium. This is what you need to know, mom and dad, or whoever is just starting out. There's also some good notes and nuggets in here for you guys that have been keeping fish for a while, just to kind of refresh you. So here we go. It's your first fish tank, so what do you want to do, okay? You don't want to fully commit. You're like, I don't know if my kid's going to be into this. The parents are thinking to themselves, yeah, I'm going to have to do all this work myself. Let me give you some tips. The first thing you want to do when you think about your tank is your tank selection. How big of a tank are you going to get? I recommend for your first aquarium, you get the largest fish tank you can afford, okay? Now, you can get fish tanks pretty cheap. You can get them on Craigslist. I hate to say this, but God forbid, you can even go to Walmart. They've got them pretty cheap. But get the biggest tank you can afford, and what I mean by that is not only the tank itself, but also possibly the lights down the road and potentially a filter. Obviously, bigger tanks, bigger filter, bigger lights, that sort of thing. I'm rolling with a 20-gallon right here. I recommend, at minimum, a 10-gallon sized aquarium. This is a 20 high I have here. I'd actually recommend somebody get a longer tank for better gas exchange. So we've got our aquarium. If you're buying it used, you want to make sure you have them fill it up with water before you pay them a freaking dime. Again, if you're buying a used tank, you can get them cheap. Make sure you fill it up with water, look for any leaks, then take the tank home with you, okay? We've got our tank. The first thing we need to understand when we're setting up our aquarium for our kid is this. They're going to bug you. They're going to nag you. You're going to get all this stuff. But you're not getting any fish for 2 to 3 weeks. Yep. Instant gratification is a problem in this country these days, so I'm just going to talk about it. People need to learn some patience, and it takes patience when you're setting up an aquarium. Why? Because of something called bioload, and I'm going to get into that right now. But understand, your kids are going to nag you, hound you, and whine for 2 to 3 weeks, and there's ways to speed that up, but you've got to make them be patient, and here's why. When your fish takes a dump, I'm going to get graphic, okay? You go into the bathroom, you take a dump. Do you want to sit in there and it smells bad? Heck no. A fish has it twice as bad as you because they take a dump in a tank. It sits there and have to swim with it. Yes, that's foul, but I want you guys to understand something. When a fish takes a tiny little microscopic poop, there has to be a bioload that can turn it from nitrite to nitrate and then to nitrogen, which is then absorbed or whatever by plants. But yeah, so that's a bioload. So this microscopic, like pencil lid sized poop that a fish makes is ultimately going to be swimming around with that waste unless there's a bioload, and the bioload takes time. The longer you wait, the better it's going to be. And let's be honest, explaining to your kid why your fish died is not an easy thing. I'm going to talk about fish in a video here coming up, but yeah, you want to set it up and you want to let it sit for 2 to 3 weeks. So how are we going to set it up? Well, we got our 20 high. We've got it right here. The biggest thing you need is you need some gravel. I recommend plain colored gravel, but you can also use colored gravel. Just don't show me your tank because colored gravel kind of hurts my eyes. I'm rolling with pool filter sand here, folks. Pool filter sand, again, 50-pound bag of pool filter sand is 10 bucks. 50-pound bag, 10 bucks. It looks like this. You can see it right here. This is a 50-pound bag. It's 10 bucks, okay? You can get the stuff in the aquarium shops. You'll pay probably triple. I recommend, yeah, this is pool filter sand. I've also got this color right here. This is the gravel that you want to use. I like the darker colors, a little easier to keep clean. Black's great. Roll with some gravel. The general rule, you want to use 1 pound of gravel per gallon of water. So a 10-gallon tank, you could use 10 pounds or whatever. 20-gallon tank, you could use 20 pounds. Always go with a little bit more gravel than you think you need. Now we're going to talk about filtration of this tank. Now I want to talk about filtering your aquarium. Now, if any of you have been on my free live webinars, you will know one thing, that my favorite, most awesome filter is, in fact, not a filter at all. It is a water change, okay? Water changes, water changes, water changes, water changes. You have to make it easy to do water changes. You have to know, like, and love doing water changes. Here's why. If you're in a room, a small enclosed room, the windows are closed, and everyone in there is smoking cigarettes, do you want half of the air removed, or you just want it filtered? The answer is you probably want half of the air removed. That's how you want to view water changes in your fish tank. There's a fish pooping, you want to take out half the water. There is no substitute, there is no alternatives to a good water change. Got it? Water changes are important. That being said, you also want to make sure your kid knows and likes and does the water changes for you. It's something you're going to have to do once every week, every 2 weeks or so. So you want to make sure that they're part of the training if they're old enough to do it. This is a siphon hose. I've got plenty of videos on how to do water changes. However, aside from water changes, there's something to be said about actually having a power filter and an air stone. Let's start with an air stone, okay? Air stone is the cheapest way to go, and you can actually get by with a tank with just an air stone and not a big power filter. This is actually a double-ended pump from our friends at A Pump. It's got not one, but two air stones in it. Little tangled up here. But these work great. Suction cup goes right on the side of the aquarium like so. You take the other line, you run it in, and you turn it on. They work really well. Obviously, the suction cup didn't work so well on the side of this dirty tank. But yeah, so you can get an air pump. I run an air stone in every single one of my freaking tanks. Now look, with air pumps, you do get what you pay for. You can get them under 10 bucks, and you can spend sky's the limit, okay? You want to make sure it's quiet. If it's in your kid's room, nothing worse than a kid that's not well rested, right, parents? So yeah, you want to make sure it's a quiet one that you can get your hands on. These ones are super quiet. I don't like the new versions of Whispers, but there's a lot of other good air pumps out there. You want as much atmospheric air in your aquarium as you can get. It's not just oxygen. And for those of you who are saying, well, I don't want my CO2 to dissipate, guess what? There's nitrogen and all kinds of other great gases in the atmosphere. It's not just pure oxygen. But you want a lot of oxygen, a lot of gas exchange going on. You want the air pump pumping. You want 1-2 air stones in there if you can do it. You can get by with just an air stone. However, I like, and I've always liked, these big hang-on back filters. This is actually a Whisper 60. This might be as old as some of the people watching this video right now, okay? You get what you pay for with power filters. You really do, okay? I remember being a kid, staring at them and being like, man, I can't afford that much. It's going to pretty much wipe me out. And I bought it anyway. And you know what? I'm still using some of those filters in my aquariums today. So if you're going to be in the game for a while, buy a high quality from a name brand. Buy a good filter and put it on. You want a recommendation for filtering your tanks? They say for every gallon of water, you want to do 4 times per hour. So if you've got a 10-gallon tank, you want 40 gallons per hour. You can always go more than that, okay? So we've got everything we need. We've got an air stone. You don't have to have an air stone and a power filter. You can do one or the other. I'd recommend the power filter air stone combination, but if you just have an air stone or you just have a power filter, that's fine. But we've got our air filter, or air pump. We've got our filter. We've also got our gravel. There's one other thing we need, and that is dechlorinator. And those are really the only 4 things you need. You need the tank, you need the gravel, you need the pump, and you need the dechlorinator. If you have those things, you're great, and guess what? You're set for 3 weeks. So now we're going to put it all together. So you can see we're filling this sucker up. Got it filled up most of the way. We've got our air stones in, 2 air stones in. We don't have quite enough gravel in. I'm going to add more of this gravel here. We're going to use our power filter in the back. You always want to make sure you put a little water in the back of these things to start them, though. You never want to start them dry. And then we're going to literally let this sit. We're going to let this sit for 2, possibly 3 weeks. I'm going to do more videos on this. I'm going to show you how to add fish and then what beginner plants to add and what beginner fish to add. Don't forget to add the recommended amount of dechlor to this tank. It'll be way more important to keep that straight later on. So yeah, folks. So if you like what I'm doing, subscribe. I'm going to be at the Aquatic Experience in 2 weeks, folks. I was there year 1, I'm there year 2, and year 3 I'm going to bring it to you all. And yes, I'm having an absolute freaking riot out here in the greenhouse, and I will be doing an update for you all. So everyone, make it an awesome week. Subscribe and tank on. Later.